Hi everyone, welcome back to Legend of Mystics. I'm your host Diana Priyanka Chaudhary, and today we are going to talk about the wounded healer Chiron from Greek mythology. So, Chiron is a centaur, half man, half horse, who is known as the healer of the ages and a teacher of a lot of the Greek heroes like Hercules, Theseus, Perseus, and such. However, his backstory is really, really sad. He was born out of the mating of Kronos, a titan, and Philaria, a nymph. However, Philaria did not want Kronos' advances, so she disguised herself as a horse and thought she could get away. Unfortunately, Kronos also disguised himself as a horse and chased her and impregnated her. When Chiron was born, his mother didn't want her child to look like half horse and half man. She was disgusted by him and she abandoned him. In time, Apollo adopted Chiron and taught him all the healing arts and mastery over weapon usage. And Chiron shared his gift, not his grief, his gift. Chiron shared his gift with the rest of the world, training a lot of heroes, like I mentioned before, also healing people as he went. Now, it is said that centaurs are lustful creatures. They only care about women and wine, but Chiron was different than them. He was a sage in all aspects. However, his end was extremely tragic. It happened that one of his students, Hercules, was shooting other senators, beating them up with his hands and arrows, and the arrows were dipped into Hydra's blood. Unfortunately, one of those arrows wounded Chiron as well, and as a result, Chiron, who was immortal for being Kronos' son, suffered but couldn't die. Finally, his suffering went beyond his limits of tolerance, and he asked the gods to welcome him into Hades, taking away his immortality. And the gods granted him that, and he was accepted into Hades, and a constellation of Sagittarius was named after him. So, my takeaways from this story are several. Firstly, Chiron is a prime example of why abortion is needed in this world. When women who are still in this day and age the primary caregivers of children do not want a child for any reason, there should be no excuses for bringing that child into this world and just to make him suffer. I mean, look at Chiron. He was well accomplished, well known, respected, yet met with a tragic end at the hand of his own students. Didn't get his mother's love, um, didn't even get to enjoy his immortality. What's the point of such a life? And also, this, he was separate than the herd. The rest of his kind were so lustful, so evil. Have you ever met anyone from the Greek pantheon of gods who wasn't lustful or evil in some way? But the condescension for someone like Chiron and his race that were different than the good looking gods or men and women, naming gods and such, is astounding. Astounding. I mean, you would think that if anyone who would be accepting of people and their sexual lives. It should be the Greek because all the messed up things that went on with them. Greeks, as in Greek gods, sorry. I have to specify. Love Greek people. Uh, but by God, even accepted as the adopted child of Apollo, who taught him everything that he eventually became well known for, even then he didn't have a good life. So, what's the point of giving birth to someone who's not wanted or who's not going to have a good life? And the othering, obviously, in Chiron's case, was off the charts. Now let's come to the wounded healer part. He was a healer who could help others but couldn't help himself. The classic martyr type. But he's also the type that no good deed goes punished. Saying was made for. He did everything right, but never caught a break. I think it's not fair, obviously, and this world was not worthy of having him, you know. However, we still have people like Chiron in this world who try all their life to help others, yet get nothing back in return and are pushed to the sidelines of the society. For example, the marginalized, the communities of color, immigrant communities who uproot themselves for whatever reason and go to another country to build that country's economy and themselves up together. If you are into numbers of US economy, the immigrants pay more in taxes than corporations, all right? Effectively, as a group of immigrants, they pay more in taxes than corporations that make billions and billions and billions of dollars, giving without ever receiving, just because they were different, just like Chiron. My last takeaway from his life is that you should set boundaries. See if Kronos had brown boundaries, he wouldn't have gone against the wishes of Chiron's mother. If Chiron's mother had boundaries, she wouldn't have given birth to a child she was going to throw away anyway. And if Chiron had boundaries, he shouldn't, have been so freely giving to everybody, yet wanting nothing back for himself. There should always be boundaries. You shouldn't endlessly just give, 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 because even charity should be done for the needful, and some people do not deserve your kindness. So that's all my takeaways for Chiron and his story. Please let me know your interpretations of his story, of his life, in the comment section below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, what are you doing? Subscribe, like, share, and also hit the bell icon so you can get updates on all my future uploads. Okay? Alright. Bye. See you next time.